Imagine sending one text message before you even get out of bed, and by the time you've made coffee, your inbox has already been sorted, your calendar for the day is summarized in 3 sentences, and a note is waiting for you with the one task that actually matters today. No app to open, no dashboard to check, just a normal text message, like you're chatting with a friend who happens to have access to your entire digital life. That's not a concept video. That's what people are actually doing right now with the tool we're talking about today. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make it do the same thing for you. If you already got this installed and running from a previous video, perfect. This is where it actually gets useful. If you haven't set it up yet, don't worry. Everything here still makes sense, and you'll know exactly what you're working toward once you do. Before we dive in, quick favor. If this kind of practical, hands-on walkthrough is helpful to you, tap the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this one. All right, let's get into how you actually use this thing day to day. Here's the mental shift you need to make first, because it changes everything about how you'll use this tool from here on. This is not a chatbot you visit. This is an assistant that lives inside the apps you already check throughout the day. You don't open a special website, you don't remember a new login, you just message it the exact same way you'd message a colleague through whatever app you connected it to during setup, whether that's a messaging platform, a team chat tool, or a browser-based control window running quietly on your own machine. That single difference, talking to it where you already are instead of going somewhere new, is honestly the whole reason people stick with this instead of abandoning it after a week like so many other tools. So what do you actually say to it? This is where a lot of people freeze up the first time, expecting they need special commands or exact syntax. You don't. Day-to-day usage requires 0 coding and 0 memorized commands. You simply talk to it like you would a smart assistant sitting next to you. For example, you could ask, summarize all of my unread emails. Show me every meeting I have after 3 p.m. today. Turn today's calendar into a simple to-do list. Research the latest news about AI agents and include the sources. Draft a reply to this email, but don't send it yet. Those are all normal requests, and that's exactly how OpenClaw is designed to work. It understands your intent, decides which skills and tools it needs, and carries out the task without you memorizing complicated commands. Now here's a genuinely underrated feature that separates this from a normal chatbot, and it's the reason your conversations with it feel less repetitive the longer you use it. It remembers things across sessions, not just within one conversation, but genuinely over time. Mention once that you prefer a certain writing style, or that you're working on a specific project, or how you like your daily summary formatted, and it holds on to that. A week in, you'll notice you're explaining less and less because it already knows the context. Some long-term users describe it as feeling like it slowly gets to know how you work, the same way a real assistant would after a few weeks on the job. Let's talk about the actual engine behind what it can do, because understanding this one distinction will save you a lot of confusion later. There are 2 separate layers here. There are tools, which are the raw capabilities it's allowed to use, things like running commands, sending messages, or writing files. And then there are skills, which are more like instruction manuals that teach it how to use those tools for a specific purpose. Think of tools as the hands, and skills as the knowledge of exactly what to do with those hands for a given job.
A skill focused on note-taking, for example, doesn't grant new permissions on its own. It simply teaches the assistant how to organize and file information once it already has permission to write. This separation matters because adding a new skill doesn't automatically give OpenClaw more power. It simply makes better use of the permissions you've already granted, which is a much safer design than it might sound at first. Out of the box, it already comes bundled with a substantial set of official first-party skills, covering things like email and calendar management, working with code repositories, and general web research. These are the safest place to start. And honestly, most people can rely entirely on the built-in skills for quite a while before needing anything else. But here's where it gets genuinely exciting. There's a massive public library of community-built skills you can add on top, covering everything from note-taking apps to smart home control to specialized developer search tools. Want your assistant to search technical documentation instead of general web pages? There's a skill for that. Want it to automatically back up a folder every night and clean up older backups? There's a skill for that too. Want your meeting notes automatically saved into your favorite note-taking app? That exists as well. Now, I need to pause here for something important, because skipping this part would genuinely be irresponsible. This community skill library is open to developers, which means alongside excellent projects, there have also been real security incidents. Some malicious developers have uploaded fake skills with names intentionally designed to look almost identical to popular trusted ones. Their goal was to trick users into installing the wrong package and quietly stealing credentials or sensitive information. The solution isn't avoiding community skills altogether. Most of them are perfectly legitimate. Just develop one simple habit. Before installing anything, check how many people are using it, how long it's been available, who published it, and exactly what permissions it requests. And never install a skill from a random shared link. Always find it yourself through the official skill browser. Those few extra seconds can save you from a very serious security problem. Let's move into something that turns this from a helpful chatbot into something that feels almost eerily proactive: scheduling. You can tell it to run a task automatically at a specific time or on a recurring schedule, then send the result directly to whatever messaging app you've connected. This is exactly how the morning briefing example from the beginning of this video works. You configure it once to summarize your inbox, check your calendar, identify urgent tasks, and send everything to you every morning. After that, it simply happens automatically without you thinking about it. Beyond mornings, scheduling works for almost any repetitive task. Monitoring websites for changes, checking whether a project has reached a milestone, sending yourself a weekly productivity report, backing up important folders, or reminding you when something important changes. Once you start thinking this way, you'll probably discover dozens of repetitive tasks that OpenClaw can quietly automate for you. Here's another layer worth knowing about, especially once you start relying on this for more than one thing at a time. It can run multiple separate conversations or sessions simultaneously without them bleeding into each other. One thread can be helping you write an article, while another researches a completely different topic, and neither one interferes with the other. For more advanced workflows, OpenClaw can even split larger jobs into smaller subtasks, work on them independently, and bring everything back together once they're finished. Think of it like briefly delegating work to several assistants instead of making one person do everything from start to finish. Now, let's talk about something people almost never think about until it catches them by surprise.
By default, OpenClaw doesn't automatically trust strangers. If someone it doesn't recognize tries to send it commands, it won't immediately respond. Instead, it asks for your approval before allowing that person to interact with your assistant. That default setting exists for a very good reason. If someone somehow discovers your bot or messaging endpoint, they can't immediately start issuing commands on your behalf. Unless you completely understand the security implications, leave that setting exactly as it is. Now let's talk about another habit that separates experienced users from beginners. Even though OpenClaw is capable of acting on your behalf, you shouldn't immediately give it permission to do everything automatically. Start with low-risk tasks. Let it summarize your emails before asking it to send emails. Let it draft replies before allowing it to send them. Let it organize files before allowing it to delete files. As your confidence grows and you better understand how it interprets your instructions, you can gradually automate more important actions. Building trust this way dramatically reduces mistakes while still saving you plenty of time. One more practical trick before we wrap up, because this is genuinely one of the most powerful features people overlook. If there's a workflow you repeat all the time and no existing skill already handles it, you don't necessarily need to write code. You can simply describe the workflow in plain English, explain which tools it should use, describe the rules it should follow, and OpenClaw can often create that workflow for itself and save it for future use. That's a huge difference between a traditional assistant and an AI agent that can continuously adapt to how you work. Before we finish, here are 5 things every new OpenClaw user should try first. First, ask it to summarize your unread emails. It's one of the fastest ways to see how much time it can save every day. Second, create a daily morning briefing that summarizes your inbox, calendar, and highest priority tasks before you even start working. Third, ask it to research a topic you're interested in and return a concise summary with sources instead of dozens of search results. Fourth, have it draft an email or document for you, then review and edit it yourself before sending. It's an easy way to build confidence without giving up control. And finally, install one official built-in or first-party skill and spend a few days learning how it works before jumping into community-created skills. Building a solid foundation first makes everything else much easier later. So, to bring everything together, talk to OpenClaw in plain language. Use it inside the apps you already use every day, instead of treating it like another website to visit. Allow it to learn your preferences over time. Start with the official built-in skills before exploring community skills. Use scheduling to automate repetitive work. Gradually build trust before giving it more responsibility. And remember, the goal isn't to replace everything you do. It's to eliminate repetitive work so you can spend more time on the things that actually require your attention. If this walkthrough changed the way you think about using OpenClaw, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more practical AI tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.